Well, because of I'd been there with my parents, and I really liked the campus, and I liked the feel, and I liked the idea of going out of state, being a little further away from home. You know, apologies to my parents, but it was kind of an adventure in a way, and I didn't know anybody from my high school that was going there. There was only one other person from Midland, Texas, that was there, and so I felt like it would be a nice sort of start over, and really it just appealed to me. And at that time they had a great architecture school, so I got a scholarship from a foundation in Midland to kind of help make the cost of going out of state a little bit better, and declared a major in architecture. And I came to OU and spent the first year in architecture, and I pledged a fraternity, and it just so happened that Dr. John Campbell, who just retired as dean of the Petroleum Engineering School, was our faculty advisor for my fraternity. And one evening in the spring, after dinner, we were talking about grades and decisions on majors and all this. And I said, Dr. John, I said, I really feel like the architecture I like, but I really don't feel good about the creative part. But I really feel I like the mechanical part. I'm really good at that, and I like that. He said, son, what are your grades? I told him what my grades were. He said, well, I could get you a scholarship in petroleum engineering, I think, with your grades, and I think there's a real future in it. And I said, ooh, Dr. John, my dad is a petroleum engineer, and my dad had this conversation with me, don't become a petroleum engineer. If you want to change to engineering, be a mechanical engineer. He said, there's no future in petroleum engineering, is what he said. So I said, well, I'm worried about my dad. And he said, I don't worry about your dad. With all due respect, things are going to turn around by the time you graduate. And let's just see where it goes. I said, okay, let's see where it goes. So he took me over to the petroleum engineering school, introduced me to the dean. We had a nice meeting. He got me an interview with Amoco, who gave me a summer job that summer and a scholarship, which was progressive based on my grades. And I said, that sounds pretty, I said, I'm in. So I changed my major, didn't tell my dad. Went home after the end of the semester, and I said, Dad, I've got good news and bad news. And he said, well, give me the bad news first. And I said, well, I changed my major to petroleum engineering. And he goes, oh, man. He said, well, I talked to you about this, and said, really I think it's a bad move. I just don't think the future's in it. And he said, did you say something about good news? And I said, yeah. He said, well, let's hear that. So I said, okay, I got a summer job with Amoco, working in West Texas, and I got a scholarship for next semester, for next year. And my dad goes, he thought about it for a second and said, well, how much does it pay? And I told him, and he goes, ooh, okay. So he said, but if it doesn't work out, don't say I didn't warn you. I said, okay. But I made the decision, and he supported it based on my judgment and so forth, and the scholarship helped, obviously. But it was a great thing, and the thing that I've said this before, the thing that attracted me to engineering and petroleum engineering was that I'd grown up in a family that had been part of that business, and I really was attracted by that, and the people and the friends that they had, and just the life that they lived, and the people around them. And I thought that would be something that it was attractive to me. And OU was obviously a place at that time, it still is, but it was certainly at that time one of the top 3 petroleum engineering schools in the country, I would say. There were some great professors here. Had a chance to learn from them and be a part of their sort of prime time careers as professors and teachers outside of the university. They were well written, and their courses were taught all over the world. So it was a really great opportunity for me to be a part of that. And so I'm glad I did it, because life took off. I mean, I graduated in 1971. Things were much better. They began to improve by the time I was a year out of college. They'd gone exponentially positive. So it's been a great ride, and just retired after almost 40 years in the business, and I'm still consulting, but it's been a great ride, and it's taken me places that I never dreamed growing up in Kansas or West Texas that I would have gotten to see. And some work experiences and so forth are just fantastic. So, well, I guess my greatest advice: don't be afraid to step out. and do something that's a little bit out of the comfort zone. And I think especially too, and I'm passionate about this, that I think engineers today need to think globally. I think they need to think with an international mindset, because that's where the business of the world, the challenges, the opportunities in the world are going in a global sense. I mean, obviously there's things to do here at home that there's great applications for engineering skills, but if you have that global mindset and that ability to want to step out of bounds and learn something about other countries and other cultures, and to be placed in there, I think your life will be richer for it, and I think you'll be more competitive in the world of a increasingly competitive environment for engineers and their services. Well, I really, again, it goes back to this sense of a passion that I have about the importance of being a global thinker, and maybe opening your mind a little bit more than just the pure math and science that's devoted to engineering. Be an engineer, but also expand your focus, expand the things that you get into. Understand history, understand economics, understand philosophy, understand things like that, that give you a sense and a broader scope for what the world is all about, the challenges of other cultures and other regions. We are more and more being tied together as a single entity, as a global community. Markets are certainly that way, and we need to understand that. And so I want this classroom, this panel we're doing today is going to be an example of the kind of things that we all believe. All these are friends of mine from business and personal friends that have all lived and worked globally throughout the world. They all have the same feeling about the need for students to be competitive and be internationally focused in thinking. And we want to project that today. This is the first event we've held in this new building and this new seminar room, and we wanted to replicate the kind of things that we'd like to see focused on as this room is used over and over in the future. So it's really just sort of an example that we're going to set the stage for how we'd like to see it used, and the kind of things we'd like to see discussed and explored through this great facility. And we're all going to talk about different things today. I'm going to talk about some very fundamental things, and I'm particularly pleased and proud of the project of the Civil Engineering School here, the water project. And I think it's a great example of something that here you're in the heartland of America, in an engineering college that's located miles and miles away, thousands of miles away from a lot of these areas that have problems. But we're going to highlight their success and the importance of engineering skills and developing technologies to deliver access to clean water and power and electricity, among other things. And it's a great challenge, it's a great opportunity, and there's a great need. I think the linkage that our students have when they go over there and actually physically are on site and working with these peoples in these communities, and you establish a relationship through that work, and you're out of your comfort zone. You're there and you understand what they deal with every day. And you understand the simple joys of having clean water. And you understand that that's important, it's significant to them, and it's a building block for other things. And I think the linkages that the university can have when you establish a relationship with those countries, I think it's got great benefit to the university long term, because I think you'll attract perhaps students, quality students that can learn here and be a part of going back and making lives for the people in their communities and their country better. I think we'll see students of ours that go out and live overseas, work overseas, and give something, and not just a product of their engineering skills, but something else that's over and above that. So I think it's a great two-way street, and I think OU can have a real part in that through the broader educational linkages.